Okay, it says we're live. Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Coffee Pod. And I'm delighted. I've got Lee here, Fix It For Reselling with me. Hi, Lee. How you doing?
Good evening, all. I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good. So hopefully people will be coming in, and I'm really keen to find out a bit more, not just about your reselling, but more about the fixing part. As I said to you before we went live, I'm completely useless at fixing anything, let alone stuff to resell, even around the house. You know, if for instance, I mean, our back door keeps playing up and it doesn't lock properly, and we have to get someone to come out to fix it. And it's probably so simple. I just need to adjust certain things. And I've looked on YouTube for how to do it, but DIY is not my forte, that's for sure. So
next time you get the guy around, watch what he does, and then you know
yeah,
what to do. And
exactly. That's what I need to do. But normally I kind of get some around and think, oh, that's job done now, leave them to it. But you're right, I need to learn. So
yeah,
let me just say a few hellos in the chat quickly. So Poker Zen was in first. Hiya. Hi, Leanne. Hope you're well. Rich, Night's Life. So Rich is going to come on the channel next Monday, hopefully, if any luck. I hope you're feeling better, Rich. I know you had COVID, so I hope you're good. That's Scary Ghost. Hi, can't wait for this live. So obviously you're bringing the numbers in then, Lee, because normally they don't care about my live. So thank you for coming on and bringing the numbers in. No, I'm joking. Here we go. My brackets fixing is just cleaning the products. Yeah, that's about what I do. John YLM, hi, I hope you're well. Tama Bell. Hi guys, I'm going to just say before we carry on, Richard, who was the winner last week of the giveaway, has still not been in touch. So Bell, the whatever the figure is might still be coming your way. So yeah, prepare yourself for that. So we've got Limelight Vinty. I'll just run through the chat quickly and we'll get started. Money Mental, hi, hope you're well, Andrew. Yorkshire Mix. Rich is feeling much better. That's good. Bill and Moon. Oh, is it? Hello there.
Yeah, that's
SB Reselling. Hi, hope you're well. Yeah, so Rich is on Sophie's channel this Wednesday, I believe. I think it's 7:45, Sophie. Let me know if it's wrong. And I'll be going on Sophie's channel as well soon. Emsden, hi guys. I'm going to message you guys on Instagram as well. Keen to get you guys on. Talk about knitting patterns, hopefully, because I know you've been selling a lot of them. We've got Liam, Kathy, Johnny Forticoats. Let me see if I've missed anyone. Angela, hi Angela, and we've got Chris as well. So yeah, guys, any questions you have, anything eBay related or fixing related, please drop in. But first of all, Lee, what was it that got you into reselling then? What kind of made you get into the reselling game? And I'll talk a bit about what got you into fixing things to resell.
That was all a bit by chance, really. I mean, it's when we moved up here. I mean, we used to live down by Heathrow. I think we've been up here about 4 years now. 4 or 5 years, coming up to 5 years. But yeah, we moved up where we bought like a derelict house. We moved up to like Fleetwood in Lancashire, and yeah, the house needed a lot of work to it. So, you know, we've watched all them shows on the TV where it's like do a house up, sell it on, make loads of profit, and that was the plan. But it's like we kind of like fell in love with the house we were in, although you know it still needs a lot of work doing to it. I've had to replace floor joists and everything like that. But that was a plan. Do this up for a year and sell it on. And then, you know, the wife actually stayed down south for a year because her son was sort of 17 and just moved into a house on his own. So she wanted to make sure he was all right. And she still had like a contract work down there. So it gave me sort of a year to get this house kind of like livable because it was, you know, in quite a sort of dire strait. But yeah, when she came up, you know, she went out to work again and thought, you know, this isn't for us. We was doing 12 hours a day, like working, which is why we moved up here.
Sure.
And then we just, you know, by chance come across some like YouTube channels of like eBay resellers. And then that was it. We've always liked car boots. And even before we moved up here, we went to a couple of car boots to sell off some of our stuff, some of our junk we had in storage that we never even used.
Sure.
And we was amazed at how quickly, you know, stuff was disappearing. I was giving away like PlayStation steering wheels and stuff like that and PS3s for like a tenner. Yeah. And now I actually do the job. I understand why we was getting mobbed first thing in the morning.
Of course, yeah.
You know, I was that person at the car boot now giving their stuff away for nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. We started, you know, we watched these other YouTubers and thought that was it. You know, we can do that. You know,
It's
And
quite
that's
funny the amount of people who do start with the whole YouTube watching other resellers before they completely sort of
yeah,
immerse themselves completely in it. I was the same as well. I was watching obviously the Nick and Andrews and the George Rosses, etc., from early days, well before I even started reselling, because I'm the same as you. I used to enjoy just going to the car boot sale for the hunt for myself. You
yeah,
know, it was the enjoyment of going with my dad back in the day and seeing what you can find with your £5 you got. And then it got to the stage of, well, actually enjoy watching other people pick up stuff at a car boot sale, which is a bit of a weird thing when you aren't a reseller. And I get lots on my channel
yeah,
who aren't resellers who just enjoy the treasure hunt of it all as well.
yeah,
So we've got a really good question, chat. I just want to go back, and the chat is flying past. So if I've missed anything, sorry, guys. But this is a great question that I was going to ask as well. How do you know if the item is fixable or unfixable? As in, if you was to buy a PlayStation 3, is there any
yeah.
PlayStation 3s that, for instance, can't be fixed, or is there always a way to fix it?
There's not. No, there's not always a way. I mean, I still go to a car boot sale and think of the item as broken because not everything can be fixed. A lot more of the vintage electronics, you've got a better chance
Mhm.
because a lot of stuff, like a lot of the modern stuff, is now is controlled by chips. And after a few years, all these chips sort of they go outdated. They're not manufactured anymore. But with the older electronics, it's all literally capacitors, transistors, and stuff you can just go and buy off the shelf, and
Sure.
they cost pennies. So yeah, you do kind of like think you buy it broken. I mean, like a PS3. I've got a couple. I've got like a little reader now that can read the error codes because I mean, a lot of people have probably seen the PS3s that have the yellow light of death.
Yes.
I've got a little machine now that can read the codes, and it can tell me that the solder balls on like the graphics chip have gone.
Cool.
That is pretty much not fixable. That chip is like dead. Now there are people talking about Frankenstein ways of taking like a newer PS3 and putting the chip onto there and changing some resistors, but that's like really in depth.
Sure.
But there is a lot of stuff that can't be fixed.
And that's quite good. You've got that machine, I guess, because it kind of puts you where you need to be straight away without having to sort of find where the problem is. That machine will tell you exactly what the problem is,
Yeah,
and it
but a
makes
lot
it a
of
lot
times, I
easier to
mean,
fix it.
when you first turn something on, I mean, a lot of time if there's no power at all, you kind of like know it's in the power supply somewhere, and a lot of times that can be fixed. But if it's turning on or it's turning on and then sort of playing for a little bit and then shutting off again,
Sure.
that's when it gets a little bit harder. So if there's no power at all, you kind of like know I need to look in the power supply area, which is
Yeah.
a small area. But that's when you get dangerous when you start playing around with power supplies because you are literally putting your hands in live sockets.
Absolutely. I've just catch up on the chat as well. Hunley, hi, I hope you're well. Good talking to you this morning. Let me see if I've missed anyone else. Right, so with regards to then learning how to fix things, as I said to you and everyone else, I'm completely useless at that. So if you was to get something through that you've never fixed before, where do you begin with that? How do you learn potentially how to fix an item?
It's like everywhere else. You look at YouTube.
Mhm.
A lot of these items do have common faults. It's like these, where you get the Sega Game Gears. A lot of
Mhm.
people are like, change the capacitors out, it's working. And the same with like the DVD to VHS players. A lot of times it's just like 5 capacitors. It's going to cost
Sure.
you a couple of quid to like replace them. So they're kind of easy because a lot of things do have, common faults. But yeah, you look it up on YouTube first, which is why I sort of made a channel, because I do come across some things that aren't findable on YouTube. And the more you learn, the more you don't have to look at YouTube. I mean, I knew
Mhm.
nothing about electronics like a couple of years ago.
Sure.
But yeah, the more you look at stuff is the more you learn about electronics. You learn more about what the components are doing. And it's all about hands-on. I mean, you can look at as many YouTube videos as you like. If you're not interested in it or you
Yeah.
don't have a go at it yourself, it's going to be a lot harder to learn it. It's
I
like
guess that's
everything
part
else.
of the enjoyment.
It's like fixing your car as well. I can strip down a car engine. I've always been
Sure.
like handy. I could strip down a car engine and rebuild it in like a weekend. So I've always been able to do that sort of DIY stuff as well.
Sure, and I guess it's like anything, it's kind of like trial and error thing, like you're saying. You have to kind of want to try and fix it, otherwise
Yeah,
there's no point in starting. And you're right. I think there's so much on YouTube now where you can learn how to do near enough anything in life now, which is a lot easier than maybe how it was many years ago, where there wasn't people putting out videos of how to do things. You kind of had to learn from, I guess, textbooks and stuff, etc. Leanne's asked a question here. What did Lee do repaid employment before becoming a reseller? So are you full-time or part-time, Lee?
I'm full time.
You're a
But
full-time reseller. What did you do before?
I've been self-employed for probably over 25 years.
Okay.
I used to be in the print trade. That was my employed job. Used to be in the print trade. Used to work on sort of. I used to actually work on the Viz magazines and stuff like that, and Waitrose food magazines. Was all in the print trade, and then I left there and went self-employed, and started getting into all like the internet, like programming. So I used to like code, like web pages, build web pages, coding in PHP, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Google started bringing out. I used to make like a lot of money out of doing like ads and making pages of ads, and then Google started doing their own Google ads, so that kind of like shut everyone down. So, and the sort of web exploded. I mean, these were when we was building basic pages. So then the web's kind of exploded, and it's hard for one person now to build a massive interactive website. I mean, I've built some like online shops and stuff like that, but to do it now, it would take you like 6 months just to build a bespoke website. You can't really do it without a team. And then I was a courier in London for sort of 4 or 5 years, delivering. Well, we used to take Banksy artworks to be authenticated and stuff like that. And so I used to do a lot of street art around London, picking up a lot of artwork and delivering it and everything.
And then you got into the reseller game after that. Then you kind of
we decided we was both. I was working sort of minimum sort of 10. It was anywhere between 10 and sort of 16-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
So the life of a courier, you're out on the road all the time, and I was driving in London a lot as well. And the days just got long, and you were just like tired. You're getting up at sometimes you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't get home until 8 o'clock at night, and we're getting old. We were like fed up with it, so it's like, right, we're gonna move up north, get rid of this like busy lifestyle down south. We'll go up north and we're gonna take it easy.
Sure. Whereabouts down south did you live? You mentioned Heathrow.
It was right by Heathrow, yeah, Staines upon Thames.
Oh, do you know that's where I was born in Staines. Actually.
Yes, we used to go to Shepperton Car Boot a lot.
Oh yeah, that's where
that was our local Shepperton Car Boot.
Yeah, I still pop there now and again. I normally go to another one on Saturday, but sometimes if I'm doing 2, I'll go to Shepperton as the second one as well. So, okay, cool. So Kathy's asked a question. We've got a 2-part one here. So can you fix cars, Lee?
Yeah, she's asking that because Nicola went down south and the car broke down.
And then we had, he won't fix my radiator, Kathy. So is this the truth?
No, I've not heard about her radiator, no.
Right, okay. That sounds like you have all the time. So Tamara Bell have said, will Lee consider being a Tommy Lee Jones lookalike?
Recently dries up. Yeah, maybe. I still don't think I look like him, but I don't think there'd be much money in it.
I didn't read the question before I just saw the part question. So they got that one through here. So let me just see. Here we go. So Neil's on. He says, evening guys, I have a lens and a boombox to fix tonight. I have the parts now to wield the screwdrivers and hammers. Yeah, I'd probably put up hammering the lens, to be honest, and give up on it. So let me just see if I missed anything in the chat. Yeah, so Tamara Bell, put your channel in there. I'll obviously link it into the bottom after this as well. So if you're not following Lee, please give him a follow. You put something on Instagram the other week, and it caught my attention about... remind me what it is. It's like garden twine or something. To
I was going to say I don't put much on
no,
Instagram.
I get lots of cable stuff when I send things out, and I always have to buy like cable ties and stuff. But you mentioned, just repeat what you said again. What's worth buying?
It's just like I can't remember how many meters it was now. It's like 25, 50 meters. It's just like garden twist ties. It just comes on a roll, and you can pull it out in the middle. It's got its own little cutter on there. And you can just do up all your cables with it. It just looks, it's like they've just come out of the packet. It's when you buy them, they got the little twist ties on them.
Sure.
And it's just like a massive reel of it. It's 50 meters, and it's lasted me over. Well, I've had it probably 2 years now. It's
Sure.
coming to the end of it now, but that cost me about £5-7.
And you get loads of it as well. And when I saw that on Instagram, it's kind of one of them things where you don't really think about until someone mentions it. And it clicked with me. And do you know what? I'm useless. I've still not been to a garden centre, but next time I do, I will pick some up, because the amount of money you spend on cable ties, and actually that is it looks so much better as well for the photos, I think, than having cable ties around things. So
it's better than elastic bands and stuff like that.
No, absolutely. We have another question here from Jack. Hi, Jack. Welcome. Did you manage to sort the other consoles, Lee?
I've just fixed the PlayStation 4 that was in the job lot he's given me. That will be a video out probably this week. So I went to Jack's house. It's like an Aladdin's cave for me. I'd love to live there with all the consoles he's got. But yeah,
remind me, is Jack the one who goes to the auctions a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he said on Pete's channel. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, he sells a lot of media and stuff. But yeah, no, I've seen him at the car. I've seen him at the car boots for years. I mean, this is a weird thing about people you see on the chat as well.
Yeah.
I've seen Jack at the car boots for like the last 2 years. I've seen him at like Norcross and Billsborough. Never known who he is. And you see the name in the chat and you're like, oh, hi, and say hello to everybody in the chat. And then he popped up on Sales of the Unexpected about a month ago. I was like, shit, that's Jack.
I know.
See him all the time. And it's like, I've seen him for the last 2 years, all of a sudden. So I got talking to him, and he had some like broken consoles that he hasn't really got the time to deal with. And some of them were just spare parts. So I just sort of popped round to his and picked up a load. So there was an Xbox One S that wasn't working, but I got that working, but it's a banned console. There was another Xbox One, the original, that wasn't working, but I got that working, but that's also banned, which didn't leave me much hope for the others. Then I managed to fix one of the other Xboxes, which is a video I put out last week, I think. That was in the bundle. And then also there was a PS4 that said it had the blue light of death on there. And I've just fixed that one. I did have to get a new power supply for it. But so that one's fixed, but that would be a video out this week. So nice. I've gone through all his consoles now. I've got 2 Xbox One boards that are just for like spare parts, but all the others are working, even if they're bad.
So JJ says Jack's the one who never lists. Yeah, so they're always in competition together. We'll see on Pete's channel as well who's going to list the most. So, hi Sharon, I've just seen you popped in. Hope you're well. So, with regards to the YouTube channel then, so I'm guessing you started your reselling and fixing things to resell before the YouTube channel. What made you sort of take the plunge into YouTube and sort of go down that route as well?
Well, I kind of like wanted to do something a little bit different. I mean, you see all these people that are picking up this stuff at the car boots, and it's always broken. I mean, like you said before, I used to go to the car boots with my dad and my stepmom. I used to love going to the car boots. When we stayed with them, we're at the car boots, and there was like, never buy electronics at the car boot. They don't work.
Always don't work. You always assume they don't work. They're bought for parts.
It's like, no, I'm not getting you a VHS player. It won't work. He actually bought me one once, and guess what? It didn't work.
Yeah.
But when we started reselling, other people that were picking up broken stuff, then I was sort of fed up with picking up like the broken stuff, especially when you come across the VHS to DVD, the combis, when they were worth like 250 quid. I mean, they've dropped sort of 100 quid now. They're not as good as what they used to be.
Yeah.
But to get a broken one of them and then, find out how to fix that. I mean, you could have sold it for spares and repairs still for, probably £80. And it's just like, it'd be a quick flip to most people. But I thought, no, I'd rather have the 250.
Sure.
I'd rather spend, maybe an hour researching what the problem could be, and then, maybe another hour fixing it. So a couple of hours out your time, and you get something fixed. But that's what made me do the YouTube channel, but slightly different to different to everyone else. Everyone else is going to the car boots, picking stuff up. I thought, right, I want to try and show people how to fix this. But I mean, I'm probably not followed by that many eBay resellers. I'm probably followed more for people that actually want to fix stuff.
Yeah, sure. But that's quite good, because then you appeal to 2 different types of people. You've got the reseller side who are going to sort of see the things you do pick up from car boots or whatever, or like what you've done with Jack stuff, you know, to fix it there. But you've
Yeah.
got the audience who will type into YouTube how to fix a broken PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And you'll appear up in that search as well. So it's quite good that you do appeal to both sides as well. And I think that's similar to a few other channels as well, where they don't just appeal to the resellers, they appeal to another market.
Yeah.
So it's a really good place.
I wanted to do something just a bit different to, you know, everyone else.
Limelight Venti, hi, welcome. What would you suggest as a simple fix for a beginner to try? So something that's pretty easy for someone like myself or Limelight Venti, where I don't know about Limelight Venti, but I'm useless as I say. Something where you can kind of just have something in front of you and it's quite easy to fix, but it will take a little bit of work.
Yeah, that's quite a good question, really. I mean,
because I hear everyone talk about changing belts on like record players and stuff, and even that for me sounds like it's a mammoth task. But
no,
yeah,
I mean, a normal record player, you can change a belt in seconds. Literally, the platter lifts up the top, you put the belt on, and it goes down, and you put it around the drive. It's as simple as that. I mean, another thing is remote controls. They're a pain in the ass to get open, but a lot of times they'll just need cleaning, especially if you've spilt a bit of sticky liquid in there.
Yeah.
If your buttons on your remotes aren't working. I mean, that's one of my most popular videos. It's one of the first videos I put out there, and I can't remember what it's got to 100,000 views now, but it's got tens of thousands of views. You know, we get so many comments on that saying, "Oh, you've helped me fix my remote. I haven't got to go and buy a new one now."
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like those belt changes, especially on record players, even tape decks. You just need to know what size belt to get.
Yeah.
But there are websites that will tell you if you measure the diameter of the record player underneath, because the belt just sits on it. But you measure that, and then there's calculations. But people will tell you that, you know, what belt is, but they are pretty simple to change.
You say that pretty simple to change for you. For me, they'll still not be simple, but I understand what you're saying. Sometimes it's the fixes where, like you say, with the record player, where you just have to lift up the plate.
You lift up the platter.
Put it on.
Yeah.
I think it's always that fear for me, like what happens if you make it worse, kind of thing. But then if it doesn't work anyway, you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, because the thing with belts as well, you can make it worse. You buy the wrong size belt, it's either going to put if the belt's too tight, it's going to put extra strain on the motor. And it could slow it down. It could play too slowly, and then you can burn the motor out as well. And obviously, then if it's too loose, it's probably going to keep slipping. So, you know, it is important to get the right size belt.
And how would you find out the right size belt? Is it simply just Googling the model of the player and it will tell you what belt?
You can do, yeah. Sometimes just Googling the name of it. Otherwise, if you flip the platter upside down, the belt literally fits on the platter. It's got like a lip on it, and the belt fits around it, and it fits snugly. It's like nice and snug, so you can flip it over and it's not going to fall off. But you know, you have the two holes in the top of the platter as well. You sometimes use that hole to put your finger in to hold the belt out, and then when you put the platter back down, you've got like the actual motor pulley just underneath that. So you just flick it over, and that's how simple that is to change.
It sounds so simple. I'm going to give it a go next time I buy a record player.
You literally measure the lip on the bottom of the turntable belt.
Adja says you need to stay on hand for when he tries to fix a CD tray on a player I bought at the auction. So this is the trouble, I guess. I guess you get a lot of resellers, which is probably a good thing, message you to say, like I did, I think, with the PlayStation as well. I've got this issue with the PlayStation. What do you think it might be, kind of thing. So do you kind of take things from other resellers and fix it and then charge them to fix things, or do you kind of just stick to your own bits?
No, because I think it's like what a lot of people say. It's not worth getting stuff fixed these days. Things are so cheap, you might as well just throw them away. I mean, that's what they say. We're a throwaway society now because the people don't know how to fix stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, you would charge like fortunes to, you know, how much would you charge an hour to sit there and, you know, sort of take something apart and fix it for them, especially when you're talking about like consoles. It can probably take you like a few hours, and, you know, sort of micro soldering and stuff now. You know, you could be charging them sort of 100 or 200 quid just to repair something, and the item could only be worth, you know, 100, 200 quid.
And I think that's why a lot of people, when they do go to car boots, kind of assume it's not going to work, and a lot of
Yeah.
people probably don't put the time into fixing it. So you must get then enjoyment out of fixing it, then, in the sense of once you buy a PlayStation 2 or 3 or whatever it may be, and it's not working. I guess your enjoyment comes from actually figuring out the issue and actually getting it to be a working console again. That kind of gives you the satisfaction of why you do it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you have to enjoy it. I mean, if you've got no interest in fixing anything, don't bother watching my channel. But I've always, I mean, as a child, I've always pulled radios and things apart. I've always been interested in pulling things apart, see how they work. Most of the times as a child, I broke it, but
no,
I took something that was working and now it wasn't. So now I'm sort of righting my wrongs.
Hi, Landon. Hope you're well. So Landon's saying he remembers the DVD VCR combo craze. Yeah, at one point, you're completely right. They used to go for silly money, and some of them still do now. I sold a Daewoo one the other day in a box, which was new open box, and that went for, I think, a 230 quid or something along them lines. So there is still a real market out there for them, but they're not as sought after as they was once. I think even like a couple of years ago, they were more sought after with the whole conversion thing. But
yeah, I mean,
car boots are still.
I remember that time. I was finding DVD, VCR like combis everywhere, and then as soon as like the word got out, they were like 200 odd quid. I hardly saw any.
As soon as it's YouTube, it's all talk about it on their channels. You know, that's where
it
ruins it for everyone, as I always get told.
The secret got let out.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, the amount of those that were broken though, and that was another thing. Like I was talking about the common fault. All the capacitors on them. I mean, I did a lot of the machines I picked up. Probably 8 out of 10 of them probably needed capacitors changed.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of them need that. But I guess for you, who's done that many a times over, that's such a simple fix now for you.
Yeah, I mean, all the VCRs. I was picking up loads of VCRs because you're picking them up for a couple of quid or a fiver, and even just the plain VCRs, you're chucking them out at like 50 or 80 quid or whatever, and a lot of times it's just like a head clean. I mean, I had a real simple one where the VCR was turning on and then powering back off again. The lights.
Yeah, I have a week on my one actually. Yeah. So how would you fix that?
This one that had me stumped. Didn't know why. And all it is, there's a little light pipe, a little piece of plastic that sits up between the cassette, and either side of it, like your VCR, you have two what they call photo transistors. So they recognize light. You can't really see it yourself because it's that like dull. Sure. So this little pipe, this little bit of plastic in the middle was just dirty, whether it was smoky or whether it was dusty. And the light just shines up through it. Shouldn't do that on TV. but yeah, the light just shines up through it, and it needed cleaning. That was it. A little bit of plastic, a little bit of clear plastic needed cleaning. Cleaned it.
Sometimes it's that simple, isn't it?
Because it reads whether the tape's playing. So when you put the tape in, it shut it down. Yeah, because it was like the tape's not moving. I can't see the tape moving, and it was because he couldn't read that light. So I cleaned it, and then it stayed on, worked perfectly. So, some things are just like simple.
Yeah,
and the more you do, the more you learn. You see that error again, or you see that problem again. And you think, oh, I know what that is. That's going to take me 5 minutes to do that. And there you go. Whereas most people do like, don't work. So they're going for like 20 quid spares or repairs.
And that's what I do a lot of the time. And that's why I kind of said a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to stop picking up VHS players and printers, because I would say 90% of what I pick up at the car boot tend to have issues with them or don't work. And again, with printers, there's a lot of money in some of the printers, but the amount of fixing I've had to try and do with them, and I just get frustrated. So, but like we were saying there, it's all about that learning. So if you learn how to fix one printer and play around with it a bit, next time you pick up a broken printer, it's a lot easier then to kind of look at that and actually work out what's potentially wrong with it. So that's fascinating. So Pokisen says, actually, come to think of it, I have fixed one console, an Xbox One S with the black screen of death and something else wrong with it, but I don't remember. Yeah, I think the only thing I remember is, and this is probably not the way to fix it, is, do you remember the 360s used to get the green ring of death or the red ring of death?
Red ring of death.
And, I remember, this is when I was a lot younger, going on YouTube, and they said about the towel trick. So you used to have to power it on, wrap it in a towel, basically overheat the console, and leave it wrapped in a towel, and it would work for a bit. And sometimes it would, but then you get the issue back again and back again. So it's obviously not the fix.
Yeah, I
So
mean that's the thing. There is a lot of crap on
yeah,
YouTube as well with fixes like that.
it's-
It's like with the PS3s, the old backwards compatible ones, where they're saying,
Mhm.
stick it in the oven to reflow, or blow a hairdryer at the back of it and stuff like that. But
I do that.
a lot of the times was like, I mean, some of them on the PlayStations like what they call the NEC tocking, like capacitors.
Yeah,
And the thing is, you heat a capacitor up, and as the hotter it gets, the quicker and more easily it can allow the electricity through it.
sure.
So that was the thing. So they're heating it up. That's allowing the electricity to pass through quicker, which is why it turns on and starts working. But as soon as you turn it off and it's cooled down again, that's it. Doesn't work.
Yeah, you've got
There's
to be careful about what you believe on YouTube as well. Like
there's
you say,
lots of
a lot of
there's
people.
tons of false information out there. It's
Yeah, don't stick it in the oven or microwave. That's my advice.
never stick something in the oven or blow hot air up his butt.
Please don't blow any hot air up anyone's butt. Okay, so Kathy says, how do you know which part to buy and where from? And it's genuine this time.
Yeah, because Kath likes a joke a lot.
Yeah.
Which part and where to buy it from? I mean, there's lots of reputable like electronics companies like RS Components, Mouser, CP was it Farnell's? They're good quality companies, electronics companies, and they ship thousands of them. They make millions of these chips and like capacitors and stuff. So genuine websites like that. I mean, it's a bit harder when it comes down to like chips. I mean, this is like a whole. There's a whole like right to repair debate, because back in the day with the 80s electronics, like the amplifiers, you used to get a schematics. You used to get the whole electronics drawing of how that machine worked, and it would list you every single part that was in there.
Yeah.
Show you how it was all put together, and it would list your part numbers. So if something went wrong with it, you could phone up the maker. You could phone up like Samsung, something like that, and say, "I need this part number," and they would send it to you. They just send it to you. Now it's all like secrecy and chips. You can't buy them anymore. You can't go to like Samsung or people like that anymore. Say, "Oh, I need this chip for this phone," or I need this chip for my microwave or something like that. They don't do it. You can't get them parts, and you can understand why they want to do it, because I mean, a lot of the stuff I do with like the power supplies and stuff, you are opening something up, and if you've got it plugged in, you've got 240 volts running through it. You might as well go around your house, take all your plug socket covers off, and plug something in with just bare wires hanging out. That's the kind of thing.
In there, yeah.
That is how kind of like dangerous it is sometimes. So you can see why they don't want Joe Public saying buying parts off them and say, yeah, that's the part you want, and chucking it in yourself. But there are a lot of people that do know what they're doing, and it's like people are trying to sort of do this right to repair stuff. You've got the right to repair your own equipment. You should be able to go to the manufacturer and say, I want this chip, I want this part. You should be able to order it and get it and fix it yourself.
I think part of that is because they probably offer a repair service themselves and make more money from it, in the sense if they can get people to send it back to them and they'll charge them, I mean, Apple's great with it in the sense of they do fix things really quick, but they charge you a ridiculous amount of money to fix it.
Don't start me with Apple. I can't stand Apple for that one reason.
Yeah. If
never own an Apple phone.
You could do it yourself and you could fix it pretty easily for next to nothing.
But a lot of time as well, Apple want you to upgrade to their latest one. A lot of the times, I mean, if you watch on YouTube, proper professional companies that are fixing Apple iPhones and their MacBooks and stuff like that, they can literally fix them within half an hour. A lot of times it's just a tiny little 10p capacitor that they need to change and stuff like that. And and they say, "Oh no, we can't fix it. Go and buy the next model." It's only like another $5,000.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of companies do that, but I know what you mean about
Apple.
Apple.
I mean, that's the thing with Apple. I mean, that's the thing with Apple as well. You're never going to get like genuine Apple parts, even if you try. I mean, I was watching Louis Rossman, who's out in America. He went to order a load of there were genuine Apple parts from China.
Sure.
And he spent thousands of them, but they'd all been sort of refurbished or repaired, but they were genuine Apple. So he had bought a load to have them shipped in, and customs, like Apple, stopped them at customs and confiscated the lot. Didn't give them any money back or anything like that because they were saying they're counterfeit. It's like they're not counterfeit; they're genuine Apple parts. I've just bought them from China because they've been, refurbished. But
They
Apple,
don't want anyone else getting in between their repair
Yeah.
service. That's the truth, isn't it?
That's the thing. Yeah, Apple do not want you touching their stuff. Although if they can be very, very easy to fix.
Yeah, no, sure. Sharon says, Rich, just watch your videos, looking so lovely. Yes, if you haven't watched Night's Life's videos the last couple of days, he's been doing the kitchen by the looks of it. It does look really nice. So yeah, jump over to Rich's channel, have a look at that as well. So like Vinci asks, I want to have a go at rewiring a lamp. There are kits available on eBay. Would I have to get it pat tested afterwards? So let's answer the question, if you could, Lee, in two parts. If you are keeping it for yourself or if you are reselling, what's the official answer and what's the unofficial answer?
Official answer is if you're going to rewire that yourself, I would probably get it pat tested.
Yeah.
I mean, I never pat test anything, but I don't usually, although I change components.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not modifying the actual thing. I mean, really, if you've been into electronics and you've fixed them in any way, you probably should get them pat tested. But they're expensive machines. But yeah, I mean, lamps, you need to know what you're doing as well, because if you're rewiring a lamp, if it's got any metal on it, it has to be earthed, because you can see a lot of lamps that will just have your two wires in it, your live and your neutral.
Yeah.
And if you've got anything metal around the outside or on the actual sort of lamp holder itself, it needs to be earthed, because if the live wire touches the sort of outer casing, if a wire splits and touches it, then that whole, if it's a metal lamp, the whole lamp is live. You touch that lamp and you're gone.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Which is why if you've got something metal, it has to be earthed somewhere on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why it's, you do need to know a little bit about electronics and what you're doing. And yeah, I would.
Yeah, don't just jump into it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're unsure, I probably would get it pat tested. But I mean, especially if you've not done anything before.
Yeah. So Landon said, do you ever snipe particular untested items that have common easy fix issues on eBay to fix and resell? So do you ever go on eBay and snipe, James has put up a VHS player for £5 spares and repairs, and you think to yourself, do you know what? James is stupid. All he needs to do is clean out a bit of plastic and I can sell this for 200. So do you do a lot of your sniping on eBay of people putting up things for spares and repairs?
There's so much stuff of it. I don't really look. Sometimes I'll see something, now and again that comes up like really cheap that I think, I'll take a chance on that. But a lot of times, especially, the high value stuff or the popular stuff, like all the consoles, I mean, PlayStation 4, stuff like that. A lot of these ones on eBay they've been through the mill. People have looked at them, and a lot of people have probably taken parts off of them, and they know they're not going to be like fixable at all.
Sure.
So that's the thing with like the consoles on eBay is spares and repairs. You don't know how many hands and workshops that console was like been through before.
Yeah.
So especially when they just put untested, you've tested it, you've plugged it in.
Everyone's plugged it in. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says.
That's not untested.
Yeah. Robert put plugged it in, doesn't power on. That's the truth compared to untested, don't have the power cable, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean. The other ones, I mean, I think a lot of spares and repairs go for too much money. I do see stuff that has like common issues. I mean, a lot of it, like on the PS4 I got from Jack Dobbins, I've had to change the HDMI port on that.
Yeah,
and that's the first time I've done that one. But that's it's either that or one of the HDMI chips. I can't remember what they call it now. The retimer chip. A lot of time it's like them that's gone. So if you've got no picture on the screen, then you think, well, yeah, I could probably fix that. But a lot of times, spares and repairs like PlayStation 4 can go for sort of 60 to 80 quid sometimes. And you think, well, I've got to do all the work on that now. I've got to buy, HDMI ports like a couple of quid. I'm not sure how much like the retimer ports are, the chips are, probably sort of maybe another £5. And then the time to do it. And then you'll get in the realms of like, I'm going to make, maybe 30 or 40 quid out of this.
Yeah.
And your time as well. So, if I pick one up at a tenner at a car boot sale, then I'd rather do that than, snipe these ones on eBay, and you don't know how many hands it's been through.
And how much they've taken out of it, like you say, if that warranty sticker has gone, you don't know how many people open it up, and there might be parts they took out already, etc.
Yeah, or they could have fixed it. Yeah, they could have tried fixing it. They could have made a mess of the board. They could have put, you could have broken traces. I mean, if they've slipped and cut through one of the traces, there's so many traces on there. It's going to be hard to find it.
Absolutely. So John YLM says in the late 80s, he worked for a TV repair shop, really busy. Now we sadly live in a throwaway society. Yeah, you don't see any of them TV repair shops and stuff anymore. That used to be around as well, where you can take a TV in and get it fixed for a certain price. I see laptop ones around, and obviously like we spoke about with mobile phones, there's lots of mobile phone repair shops. But yeah, I think with TVs now, people just don't get the parts to repair them, I guess, and people just kind of chuck them away and buy a new TV if their TV goes as well.
Yeah, well, a lot of times the screens are broken. I mean, that's what makes me laugh when people have like the TVs up for sale on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that for like 50 quid. It's like it needs a new screen. It's like the screen is all the money of like a TV. The board's in the back. Your board's in the back. The power boards and stuff like that you can go and buy for 20 quid.
Exactly. The screen is where the money's at. But you're right. You sometimes see on Facebook with screen slightly cracked and like right down the middle is a big crack and half the screen's like not showing.
All the liquids all over the place. There's lights everywhere. And it's like, no. I mean, if it was a TV that wasn't turning on, that's probably another easy fix.
Yeah.
But like you say, people were just like TVs, throw it out, get another one.
Get a new one. Yeah. So I don't know if this is a genuine question. Those YouTube videos where someone finds a camera on at the beach and clean them and get them to work, are they real or faked? I don't know what video she's talking about.
There are a lot of videos about. They're usually sort of the foreign videos where they'll find something in a pile of mud, or they'll see something on the beach. It's like completely rusted. I mean, the ones I see of like a Game Gear, Nintendo, like a Nintendo Game Boy rather. Yeah, and they literally everything's like rusted out, and then you see them like cleaning stuff and replacing stuff and putting it back together. But they do replace a lot of stuff. I think a lot of them are fake.
It's kind of when they slide it off the screen and bring a working one back on the screen and say they fixed it as well. So I have to highlight this. So Tam says he had a red ring problem when he was ill last week. Thanks, Tam. Can always count on you, mate.
Yeah, well done, Tam.
Every time I've tried to get my phone fixed when it's under contract, they just say it's water damaged, even when it's not. Yeah, that's the classic Apple thing. They advertise the phones as like water resistant, waterproof, and you take it in. They say, "Oh, we can't fix it; it's water damaged." And you're
it's not just Apple; it's like everyone else. They have that little dot in there. If it turns pink, oh no, it's been near water. It's like no, it hasn't.
Yeah,
but that's how they get out of it now.
Oh, there's lots of Apple and Android debate in the chat. I don't want to get involved.
Oh no, I started people off. I've not been reading it.
I mean, I'll be honest. I used to be all Apple, and then I moved to Android for about 4 years, and then I've moved back to completely Apple now. I must admit, I did like my Samsung Galaxy S20, but that went to I had to get rid of that because they advertise it as waterproof. But I took it in the sea with me to film my little goddaughter when she was swimming. And I was like, oh, that's right.
Water resistant.
Yeah, I'll go underwater with my phone. It's fine. Filming was great. And then I got back to the hotel and my phone just kept restarting itself. And that was the end of the Samsung. So, water resistant is not take it into the sea and get
water resistant is different to waterproof.
Yeah, absolutely. So with regards to then sourcing for Q4, because it's such a popular topic at the moment because a lot of boot sales are coming to an end now. I mean, this weekend for me was rained off the whole weekend. But what are your plans for sourcing stuff? Or do you have like what we call in the reselling game, a death pile of stuff where you can kind of pick through?
Definitely got a death pile. We've all got death piles.
Who hasn't got a death pile?
I mean that's for emergencies only. But I mean, we usually go to your auction houses. But I mean, the auction houses got a lot more expensive now than what it used to be. I mean, once when COVID came along, it's like everybody found auction houses. I think because I think they opened up the earliest.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
my one opened quite early during the COVID pandemic.
yeah,
As well.
because I mean, our auction house started doing like a click and collect thing. So you'd buy it on auction, and then you'd phone them up to collect it, get your time, and they'd have. It was great because they'd have everything out the back for you. Usually, you got to go wandering through a warehouse, find your numbers, picking your own stuff out. But now it's great. You phone them up and they drop it at the door for you. So, but yeah, most of us would be like auctions and charity shops now. I mean, I don't like. I mean, Nicola, my wife, likes charity shops because she can find some like good books and stuff in there. But I mean, for me, I mean, I don't just do electronics. I do sort of a wide range of things. You know, toys and other stuff like that. All the popular stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I don't tend to go in charity shops much anymore, just because of the pricing and the time it takes you to go around as well. But I think when it comes to Q4, if you haven't got the stock, you've got to kind of just get out there and find it as well. And it does get a bit harder, I think, if you haven't got that death pile built up. I mean, luckily for me, last week, I brought another resellers, basically their stuff they hadn't got around to listing. Basically, they're going to niche down into clothing, niche down into jeans. And I picked up about 50 or nearly 60 boxes of stock, including lots of things such as, you know, digital cameras and stuff, which I'm going to have to get round to testing all these and fixing as well, potentially, which is why it was quite nice to have you on the channel tonight, because a lot of the stuff I'm going to have to take the time to look on YouTube to see whether there's easy fixes compared to listing it for spares and pairs to make sure, you know, it's worth doing. But I think you just need to be a bit more creative when it comes to Q4 for the sourcing. So Neil says his washing machine is 23 years old. In that time, probably spent about £30 on parts, and it's still going strong. I think that's the key. I think you can get some really good stuff, and if you don't mind spending the time to fix it, things can last in a way a lifetime. I mean, 23 years old for a washing machine.
Yeah,
that's quite a long time.
Yeah, that's not bad again. I mean, we picked up a Miele dishwasher at auction, and they'd cut the plug off it. That's something they do at auctions, is they cut the plug off it so they don't have to pat test it.
Yeah.
I put a new plug on it. I wired it up, got a new plug on it, and it was coming up with a error code on the screen. And I just looked it up, and it just said the water pressure was low, which usually means there's something stuck in the pump or in a pipe. So I took it apart, and then inside the jet by the pump was just like a bit of plastic wrapping. So I pulled that out, and got a cheap dishwasher.
I've always wondered with regards to the auction sites. You just made it clear to me why they do that, because I do when I've been to auction sites, you normally pick up like the Denon amps and stuff, and a lot of them don't have the plug on them. So I'm wondering whether you're right, whether they take it off so they don't have to kind of pat test it before they list it.
They'll charge. I think they charge the seller, sort of a £5 fee or something like that to do a pat test on it. So I think they have. I'm not sure whether they have to pat test stuff now, but I'm seeing a lot more plugs cut off.
Yeah, that might be why.
Because obviously, if it hasn't got a plug on it, they can't pat test it. So it is then sold as seen.
So JJ says her auction has been shocking recently. I must admit, I haven't been to my Thursday auction now for a few months, just because I've had enough stock coming in from the car boot sales. But again, over Q4, I'll be going back there. But the Friday one is normally pretty good. But again, last time I went, it wasn't great. I think, like you said earlier, Lee, I think a lot of people now are going to the auctions, and sometimes the bids go to crazy money where you think, if you are reselling this stuff, how are you going to make your money on it?
Yeah, I mean, before COVID, we'd go through the auction. We didn't even go to the auction house and have a look. We'd have a look online, closely look at the pictures, make a big long list. We used to have like a page full. We used to have like 3 auction houses we go around here, and we'd have sort of 3 pages full of ones we were going to bid on. Probably, only got sort of 5 out of the 30 we wanted. But, there's good stuff, and they went quite cheap. Now it's like they're going for silly money. It's like there's hardly, if you're a reseller, there's hardly any profit left in there. Especially if, the electronics, if you haven't been down to the auction house and tested their working, you're taking a real big chance paying like 80 quid for something, that's maybe worth 200 quid.
Yeah. So Jack saying I'm buying a lot less at auctions than I used to due to prices going up and up, but still a main money earner. Yeah, you can still get some great stuff at the auction houses, but I think with competition, prices do rise. So, I remember years ago, before I was reselling, charity shops used to be able to get some real bargains in. And now you've got to really look for it to find the stuff that they've kind of not realized or not priced correctly, kind of thing, to actually get some really good stuff.
Yeah, I used to have a great little charity shop in my local town that I used to get cheap electronics from all the time, but now they whack the prices up to like eBay prices.
Yeah. And the signs where you see them in charity shops where it's like eBay price £50, our price £40.
Yeah.
And
they never used to do that. It used to be like used to be quick turnaround for them. Used to get the stuff in, get the stuff out.
Yeah.
But now it's even their electronics, they sit there for months now.
So you talked about this at the start a bit. Lander said, did you take everything apart when you was a kid?
Yeah. Yeah, broke a lot of stuff when I was a child, so I'm making up for it now, fixing it all.
Yeah.
Just used to be like intrigued on how stuff works.
Yeah, no, I think I used to do the same. I think I used to take things apart when I was a kid, but not on purpose. I think it was more a case of like throwing it up against a wall when I was in a strop about something compared to actually trying to fix it. So Neil said, James, hit me up if you need to borrow still battery chargers equipment. Thank you, mate. I will do. I'll be speaking to you, Neil, about the cameras as well, because there's probably, I've got boxes behind me here. There's probably about 7 boxes full of cameras. So lots for me to go through. So yeah, I will, Neil. Thanks, mate. RJS World said, done our first jumble trails this year, which we've done well at. Do you ever go to jumble trails and jumble sales at all, Lee?
We actually organised the one in Fleetwood here, where we have cool. over 100. We have over 100 houses take part. It's kind of like gets too big. You just can't get round them all. And I know because a lot of people come from like the Manchester area over to here at Fleetwood, and I've seen a lot of people do really well over here. I never find much. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of other sort of local or couple of towns now that have started doing their little jumble trails as well.
Yeah.
They don't quite get as big as ours. I mean, some of them are only sort of, 5 to 6 houses sometimes, which is, I mean, it's quite nice just to go and sort of have a little look around there. But yeah. Our one's over, 100 houses most of the time. So it takes a bit of work.
Yeah, I go to quite a lot in my area. There's quite a few that pop up in my area throughout the year. And you're right, it's really hard now to walk around a jumble trail. You've got to drive it because it's so spread everywhere. And yeah, sometimes I go to, you get sort of 80 to 100 houses, like you say, and they're on for like 3 hours. So you can't physically get round to every house. You kind of have to cherry pick. And a lot of them now actually list what kind of things they're going to be selling. And they're the houses I tend to hit if it's going to sort of match what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of people do that around here. They were sort of they were putting up what they were selling and the photographs, and then they'd sort of complain that no one had been to their house.
Yeah,
and it's like,
maybe you haven't got the right stuff for people.
Yeah.
So Tamabel, again, promoting your channel, and again, I'll link at the bottom after. So please subscribe to see a huge film star fix old Xboxes. Yeah, so please do. If you don't already, give Lee a follow, because there's loads I've learned from your channel, even to sort of think about fixing things as well. And I'm going to probably try it a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I want to try and do some more like sort of household stuff as well. I mean, it's like the wives, the Mrs. Nicola's coffee machine.
Yeah,
they just stopped working. You were pressing a button. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it wouldn't, and then you'd eventually be messing around for ages.
Sure.
It's like a Lavazza coffee machine. I'm not sponsored by them.
Yeah. Well, if they want to sponsor, I'm happy to be sponsored by any coffee brand or machine. That's fine.
So yeah, I literally took that part, and it was just the copper on the button had just got corroded, and just used a bit of contact cleaner. I mean, which is like dirt cheap. You can use alcohol. You can use contact cleaner. Cleaned that, put it back together, and it works perfectly. And the amount of comments like that, it's something that Joe Public's probably going to use. It's like, oh, you've just saved me like throwing my coffee machine in the bin. I've just like cleaned this button, and now it's all working. Same with like stuff like the remote controls.
Yeah,
some like real simple round the houses fixes. I mean, I'd like to probably do more of them. So I think when things break around the house, I'll do some of them.
And with the contact cleaner then, what kind of things would I be looking for? Because I think with some of these cameras here, there's a bit of corrosion in the battery compartment. So it might be things that I could fix quite easily by getting some of that contact cleaner. So do you just look on Amazon for that kind of thing? Or do you just buy alcohol? Or obviously not your vodka from your local shop, I'm guessing. But
oh, yeah. I mean, I'd use a lot of 99.9% alcohol, like IPA, isopropyl alcohol, which you can get on Amazon. You can get like a litre bottle of it. I think used to be about £6. I mean, I haven't bought it for like haven't bought it for a while now.
Yeah.
But then I just decant it in the little spray bottles or little squirty bottles.
Sure.
So that's quite good. I mean, that's also good for getting sticky labels and stuff off. It melts the glue and stuff. And it's like hot glue as well. If you've got hot glue on something, you just put that bit of that on it and it just falls off. But yeah, the contact cleaner you can get down. I mean, WD-40 do one now. They do a contact cleaner, which is just you can get that down, screw fix, like a whole big can of it.
Yeah,
and they're pretty cheap as well. But they're not going to get rid of. They're not probably going to get rid of like your sort of heavy corrosion on your battery contacts and stuff like that. I mean, it is going to sort of clean them up and get residue and stuff off them, give them a little shine.
Yeah, cool. That's good.
I mean,
so JJ, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say it's mainly contact cleaner. Dials on your amplifiers, your radios, and stuff like that. I mean, that's literally like a little wipe arm. It's like a little contact that rubs on a big like copper contact. So a lot of times you spray like the contact cleaner in there because it just oxidizes like with the air. When the copper just goes like a dull color, that's when it stops like conducting electricity or makes a bad contact. So you get the contact cleaner in there, and that's what that does. It kind of like revives it. It just takes off like the like a small film of it.
Yeah. So JJ says Fleetwood Jumble Trail was too big for us. Got a few things, including a great suitcase for our honeymoon. We lost it under the death pile. Had to borrow a suitcase. Yeah, no, I think I've lost many things. I think the cats have nearly been lost under my death pile at times. So it's easily done. And JJ also says, can you do a video on a fridge? Ours is broken. So can you buy a broken fridge and
well, no, I mean, well, it all depends though, because I mean, the thing with a fridge as well, it's like it's got dangerous gas in it.
Yeah,
which is why if you take it down a tip, your fridge has got to go into a certain part of the tip. Yeah, because it's got gases in there. So, but if it's leak gas, you're buggered. You're never going to get it working because the gas is all in a sealed unit.
So here we go. So this is what I mean about me trying to fix things. Neil's saying, don't use contacts, cleaner, alcohol, corroded battery terminals, use vinegar. You need acid. Okay, so I'm guessing he means like white vinegar. It
depends though what batteries are in there, because he says you've got acid to counteract the alkali, but you can also get alkali batteries. So if you've had alkali batteries that have leaked, you need the vinegar acid to counteract that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's what he's saying. Yeah, but you can also. Sorry, he said that's the one. I've just repeated what he said. You can get the other way around. Yeah, you can get like acidic batteries.
Yeah, so I should make a concoction of everything and maybe put some orange juice in there as well.
And then I think what is it? I think it's the baking powder that reacts against the acid.
Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Bicarbonate. I'd always get them mixed up, bicarbonate.
I think it's the bicarb. I've seen
one reacts to water, one reacts to like acid.
Yeah,
I can never remember which one's which.
All just
chuck something into water, see what happens. See if I've got the right one.
Hi, the Monkey Thrift. I hope you're well. Thank you for popping in. Let me see if I missed anything in the chat. Right, I think we've caught up. Okay, well, we've been just under an hour. So if there's any more questions, we'll answer them quickly. But see, 5 minutes cooking the Hayden. So we'll have to get off before then because otherwise the chat completely disappears anyway, and I don't like clashing with anyone else. So finally, thank you so much, Lee, again for coming on. I've actually learned so much, and I've even made notes here about stuff I've got to buy to help me with these cameras and stuff. And I'll be bombarding you and Neil as well with questions when it comes to things. And I might even show you some battery corrosion, maybe one of these cameras, and you can tell me whether to use the vinegar or whether to use the other stuff as well. I don't want to make it work. So
you need to know you need to know what batteries were in there before and what batteries leaked.
Yeah,
so if the batteries are still in there, and if they're alkali batteries, then use acid. But if they're acidic batteries, use like an alkaline.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed they're still in there if they are leaked. But
a lot of times it's easier just to replace them.
Yeah, exactly that. Or just to sell the camera as spares and repairs. I'll probably end up with a few bundles of spares and repairs. But yeah, anyway, look, thank you so much. I will link Lee's channel in the bottom of the video as well. So please give him a follow. Next week, I've got Rich on, as I mentioned. So Night's Life's coming on for a chat about his world. And we'll talk a little bit more about what he's been doing in the house, a bit of DIY. and I'll be spinning the wheel again next week. So if Richard Goodwin does not come back to me next week, I'm going to draw another name out of the hat, and I'm going to spin the wheel again for the people who did enter the competition previously because it doesn't come back to me. So anyway, I'll let you all get off. I'll let you get off, Lee. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take care.
Cheers. Bye, everyone.